All right. Welcome to the Bald Eagle Podcast. I am Shawn Cressman. I am the Bald Eagle. All right. Big show today because we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. We're going to go through our game recap. But I always like to start my show off with a few rules. Let's set the stage for what's going to happen tonight, right? First of all, 3 rules, right? Number one, outside. Let me start before. Before I start my rules, this is a 100% Philadelphia Eagles podcast. We only talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and things that might affect them. But again, let's get to those rules, right? Number one, no politics. I don't ever talk about politics. It's never happened. I don't intend on it. I hate politics. So this is actually my escape from politics. And hopefully you think that you feel the same way. Number two, no personal information. I forget which game I was watching or what pregame show I was watching, but they were going on and on about somebody's life and all that stuff. I don't want to hear that stuff. I just want to see and hear football, and that's all you'll hear on my show. I won't talk about people's personal lives, and I won't talk about my personal life. So all you're going to hear today is football, and I'm not censored, so I say whatever the fuck I want. Now, the one thing that's awesome about my podcast, in my opinion, is that I do the most in-depth play-by-play analysis. I recap every game, every play. I go into detail when I think it's important. You know, if it's a short running play and nothing meaningful happens, we just kind of go. I tell you what happened, but I don't go in detail. But what I do is I study each play probably 3 or 4 times. Each play I'll look at it, and I'll look at a different camera views. Hey, what's going on? Eagles Uncensored Podcast. Sounds familiar. How you doing, man? So I do the most in-depth analysis. Now, what's going to happen, and what I found since doing this, and I started my podcast last year, was that you'll find that these announcers, and I'm not saying all of them, aren't really doing they're not listening to, they're not really listening to, they're basically going off stats. And what I mean by that is, this Thursday night when they were talking about the Eagles game and the Bucs and who was going to win, fire Howie. That's Eagle champ. That is probably going to be a more common sentiment. The closer we get, the worse we do, right? Everybody wants Howie Roseman to go, and I don't know necessarily that he's the fall guy here. I mean, I think we have a pretty talented team. I mean, Devonta Smith was a decent pick, although I would agree we had need in other areas. But I'm going to say it again, just like I did last year. I think Jalen Hurts is struggling, and I think he is the main reason we're doing so poorly. And we'll talk about it in more detail. But to get back to what I'm saying, right? Get back to what I was saying. When I started doing this podcast and I started doing the detailed review of every play from numerous angles and all that stuff, you kind of figure out that these announcers don't actually watch all the games. They rely a lot on stats. So, for example, Thursday night before the game started in the pregame, it might have been Howie Roseman. It was the Fox pregame show. Howie Roseman or Howie Long or Terry Bradshaw. Somebody said that the problem with the Eagles is our defense, our rushing defense, and we have a good passing defense. Well, in fact, if you've watched the games and if you looked at the plays, it's not necessarily the truth. Sure, we're rated 28th in the league in rushing yards per game. Our defense has allowed more rushing yards per game than 27 other teams. However, we're 12th in the league in yards per rush. Not so bad, right? Out of 32. And that's because teams run against us more because they're up on us more often. And typically when you're winning a game, you don't throw the ball as often. You run the clock out, you maintain the lead, right? You wear down the defense. And time of possession, we are one of the last, I think 31st in the league in time of possession. So that means other teams have had the ball, and that's what they've used is the run game to take to own the ball more than we have. The other thing they mentioned was, we're 5th in defensive passing yards, so our pass defense is pretty good. Well, I would disagree. Teams aren't passing against us very often because they're very efficient on the times that they do. For example, our opponent's completion percentage is 71.5%, and that is 29th in the league, right? So now I'm relying on stats, but I'm relying on stats because I've been watching the games, and I know that we're generally not that bad at our rushing defense, but we are very bad in our passing defense. Now, just to give you an idea of how bad we are in the passing defense, right? I mentioned we're 29th in the league. There's only 3 other teams that are worse as far as opponents' completion percentage. Well, so we've played 6 games. 4 of those games, we've allowed a quarterback to pass over 70 yards, 70% of their completions, over 73%, right? And 3 of those games, we've allowed a passer to go over 80%, right? Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Dak Prescott, arguably some of the best, I hate to say it about Dak, but some of the better quarterbacks in the league, all completed 80% of their passes. Garoppolo was 73.3, and then you have 2 outliers. Matt Ryan was 60%. He was having a rough game, and we put pressure on him, and that I think is the difference. And then Sam Darnold, same thing. He was 56.8%, but Sam Darnold isn't necessarily, he's not a rookie necessarily, but he's a couple year player. So he's not on the same level as those other guys. So this is why I've said numerous times, and I'll keep saying it until, I'll just keep saying it until it's not true, that the key to us winning any game against any quarterback that is mediocre to good is to pressure them. That's the only out we have. And on offense, we need to run the ball because we need some time of possession. Okay, so that was a real long 3 rules, right? But I just wanted to point out something that I think makes the Bald Eagle podcast unique. So let's get down to it. Beer with the birds, right? For those of you who listen or watch, I like to drink beer with you guys. Not a real big beer drinker overall, but I thought, why not try something new? Why not experiment with different beers, see what I like? And I thought, what would make more sense than to start with Philadelphia breweries? So today, I am drinking my last, as far as I can think, I've been able to find any different ones, Victory beer. Today, I'm drinking a Victory Whirlwind. So the Victory Whirlwind is a citrus wit. It has a 5.2 alcohol. It has wheat and Pilsner malt. It has Tettnang hops in it, and it has grapefruit, orange peel, and coriander notes. That's the type of beer it is. So if you have one in your fridge, I mean, odds are probably not very good, but let's just say you have one. Hell, if you have any beer in your fridge, go get it. Let's drink together. Go Birds. It is very fruity. Very fruity. Now, if you want to drink with me and you want to drink the same beer as me, go find where you go drive around or call around and figure out where you can get an Evil Genius beer, and specifically get the New Phone Who Dis, because that's what I'll be drinking next week. Evil Genius Beer Company from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the beer I'll be drinking next week is New Phone Who Dis. So if you want to drink with me, go get it. I invite you to come drink with me. I welcome the company. Okay, let's get to the Bald Eagle countdown. So I always count down to the next newest thing in season. Of course, it's the next game. So we got 4 days till we play the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium in Paradise, Nevada. That is on Sunday, October 24th at 4:05 p.m. Our first 4 o'clock game. Everything has been 1 o'clock or prime time. Now, unfortunately, we are currently 2-4. I'll tell you how we got there. Week 1, we beat the Falcons 32-6. Week 2, we lost to the 49ers 14-11. That made us 1-1. 3, we lost to the Cowgirls 21-41, 1-2. Week 4, we lost to Kansas City 42-30, 1-3. Week 5, we beat the Carolina Panthers 21-18. Record was 2-3. And then last week, of course, we lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 22-28. And we are now 2-4. Dallas is unfortunately leading the NFC East. I wish anybody else I would love for anybody else to be winning, or at least close to them or tied with them. But unfortunately, they're not. They're 5-1. Washington is 2-4. We are 2-4. Technically, Washington has the tiebreaker. Not that it means anything, because neither of us are going to go at this rate, are going to go to the playoffs. But they have the tiebreaker because they have more division wins. They have 1 and we have none. And the Giants are 1-5. Next game I mentioned was at the Raiders, the 24th, 4:05 p.m. this Sunday. Week 8, Sunday the 31st, 1 p.m. at Detroit. Week 9, Sunday, November 7th, 4:05 p.m. against the Chargers at home. Week 10, Sunday, November 14th, 4:25 p.m. at Denver. Week 11, Sunday, November 21st, 1 p.m. at home against the Saints. Week 12, Sunday, November 28th, 1 p.m. at the Giants. Week 13, Sunday, December 5th, 1 p.m. at the Jets. Then we have the Week 14 bye, latest in the NFL. A couple other teams have it as well. And then we go on a tear of NFC East rivals. Week 15, to be determined game. There's a bunch of other teams there are 5 games that are to be determined. I'm not sure what that's all about. But we play Washington at home. Week 16, Sunday, December 26th, 1 p.m. at home against the Giants. Week 17, Sunday, January 2nd, 1 p.m. at the Washington football team. And then last but not least, week 18, Sunday, January 9th, 1 p.m. Hopefully the Cowgirls stumble between now and then, and we are beating them at home to get into and prevent them from getting to the playoffs. Sunday, November 9th, 1 p.m. Okay, then, of course, postseason wildcard weekend, Saturday, Sunday, January 15th and 16th. And for the first time ever, Monday, January 17th, there'll be a Monday Night Football game. Divisional playoffs are Saturday and Sunday, January 22nd and 23rd. Championship games, Sunday, January 30th. And Super Bowl 56, 30 to 13. Super Bowl 56, Sunday, February 13th, 2022. SoFi Stadium, that multi-billion-dollar stadium that was built in California, home of the Rams and the Chargers. Okay, again, when I do that, I've said this a couple of times, so if you're new or if you're not a new listener, I apologize for the repetitions. But I always review the schedule and I always review our draft picks just so I don't forget them. You also remember when I talk about people during the games, who's a rookie and when we drafted them and all that stuff. So looking forward, let me update this here. Looking forward, we now have 11 picks in the 2022 NFL Draft with the recent trade that we did for Zach Ertz. No matter what happens, we have 2 first-rounders. The one of them's from Miami, so if they continue on their track, that's going to be a good one. We have 2 second-rounders. One of those is from the Colts. As it stands, Carson Wentz I'm going to tell you this if you weren't aware, played 100% of offensive snaps against the Texans. So he has played 100% of offensive snaps so far this season. So we're on track to have 3 first-rounders, possibly a really good one from Miami. We have a 3rd rounder, a 4th rounder. We now have 3 5th-rounders, and we have 2 6th-rounders. Now, one of those 6th-rounders goes to Jacksonville for Gardner Minshew. It could become a 5th if he plays more than 25% of, I don't know how many games, 3 games, I think was the stipulation. So hopefully we don't have to worry about that. But if he does play more, it would be depressing because our season wouldn't be good. We've been our 3rd string quarterback, but we'd also lose a 5th rounder, which is, would be less of a big deal compared to how shitty we'd be playing, right? Draft picks from this year, 10th overall, 1st round, Devontae Smith, wide receiver from Alabama. So far, okay. Nothing spectacular. I don't know that I'd say he's a disappointment yet. If he doesn't progress and get better, he would be a disappointment. But as of right now, not yet. Round 2, 37th overall, Landon Dickerson, center from Alabama. He's been playing a lot of line. So I think he's been pretty good. Hasn't been great, has had his moments, but he's getting better. He is a rookie. Round 3, 73rd overall, Milton Williams, defensive tackle, Louisiana Tech. He's seen some time. Round 4, 123rd overall, Zech McPherson, corner from Texas Tech. He hasn't seen any time. Round 5, 150th overall, Kenneth Gainwell, running back from Memphis. He's one of our better, I'd say one of our better rookies. I'd say he might even be up there or with Devontae Smith as far as productivity this year. Round 6, 189 overall, Marlon Tuipulatu, defensive tackle, USC. I think I say that different every time. Round 6, 191 overall, Teron Jackson, defensive end, Coastal Carolina. Round 6, 224 overall, Jacoby Stevens, linebacker safety from LSU. The only guy that didn't make the active roster. And last time I checked, he was on our practice squad. And then round 7, 234 overall, linebacker Patrick Johnson from Tulane. We kept one undrafted free agent, not the one I wanted, Trevon Grimes. I'm going to hold that guy. We'll see if he plays back in the NFL. But, man, I was high on him. We kept Jack Stoll, tight end from Nebraska, who might see some playing time this week, depending on Dallas Goedert and his COVID-19 issues. Okay, we're going to get right to it. Game book. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneer game. Go Birds. Okay. We defer. We kick off. Tampa Bay starts the game. 1st and 10 on their 25. They run Fournette up the middle for 4 yards. Brings up 2nd and 6 on Tampa Bay's 29. Brady throws a pass to the right. We bring 4. No pressure. We're in a soft zone. If you're not aware, as of up until now, there's been rumors that Sirianni and all the position coaches and coordinators did an audit, did a review, looked at how we've been playing, looked at all the tape, and looked at what other people are doing in the NFL and what's successful, and they plan on making changes going forward. But as of right now, our defensive strategy has been to prevent the deep ball, and we've been doing it at the cost of 6 to 8 yard completions anytime anybody wants to get them, which coincides with the high completion percentage for the majority of our opposing quarterbacks. So This game was no different. Tom Brady, one of the best, probably the best. I don't know if he's currently playing one of the as the best, but one of the best quarterback ever to play the game. Easily found spaces in our zone, and we by all means allowed a lot of stuff up front. So on this 2nd and 6 on their 29, this was not anything different than what we've been doing all season. We bring 4, we can't get pressure. We're in a soft zone. I think the closest guy is 5 yards off. Antonio Brown is wide open in front of Nelson, who's given him a huge cushion to prevent the deep route. So it's a 9-yard completion. 1st and 10, Tampa Bay has the ball on their 38. Brady back to pass again. We bring 5, no pressure. It looks like we're in man, and Slay gets turned around against Evans. Now, number 1 rule as a corner, right? Never spin around. Never turn your back to the line of scrimmage. You're supposed to backpedal, cut right, cut left, but you never twist around and spin around. He did that. Is a huge disadvantage if you're trying to cover a guy and you lose sight of him, or God knows where he went to. Anyway, Evan cuts inside. Slay gets turned around. He's wide open. Tom Brady finds him easily for 22 yards, brings up a 1st and 10 on our 40. Fournette runs to the left for 6 yards, brings up a 2nd and 4 on our 34. Brady passes this time to the left. We bring 5, no pressure. Nelson is man on Goodwin, who cuts inside and is wide open for an accurate Brady pass for 16 yards. Brings up 1st and 10 on our 18. Tom Brady drops back again. We bring 4. We can't get pressure. Nelson's in man this time on Brown, who has a 10 and out. So he runs up 10 yards, cuts outside to the sideline. Nelson's late reacting. Brown is open, catches the pass, but can't get both feet in bounds. So that's an incompletion. Brings up 2nd and 10 on our 18. They run Fournette to the right for 2 yards. This time, Josh Sweat, who hasn't been doing quite as well as he did last year. He was, played significantly less plays, and I probably talked about him more often, but still having a good, solid year. He does an excellent job shedding a block from their tight end Howard, makes a tackle for only a 2-yard gain. That brings up 3rd and 8 on our 16. Brady in the gun again. Throws a wide receiver to Godwin. Their wide receiver Johnson easily blocks Maddox. They get 10 yards on that screen, and it gives them 1st and goal on our 6. They run Fournette up the middle for 4 yards, brings up 2nd and goal on our 2. Brady back to pass again. We get no pressure. Brady rolls right. Their tight end Howard crosses from right to left, and our linebackers don't notice. He's wide open in the corner of the end zone. You probably remember this play if you watched. Kerrigan peels from his block, tries to back up, and attempts to tip the ball, but it's over his head. Easy pass for Brady. Easy catch. And like that, the score is 7-0 in favor of the Bucs. It was a 10-play, 75-yard drive. Took 5 minutes and 34 seconds off the clock. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 25 with 9:26 left in the first quarter. Hurts runs to the right, loses 2 yards. So we have 5 offensive linemen. So we have center, guard, tackle. Hurts and Sanders in the backfield. 2 receivers wide to the right, 2 receivers wide to the left. Hurts runs an RPO, which means you have corners out there, but all the linebackers are probably have a significant advantage because there's no tight ends to block. They run the RPO. He keeps it. Their linebacker White gets around Driscoll, grabs Hurts for a 2-yard loss. So not a real good play design, in my opinion. I guess you're relying on the other guys to do shitty, and that didn't happen. Go Birds. So on 2nd and 12 on our 23, Hurts is in the gun. He drops back, has good protection, stares at Devonta Smith the whole time, misses Gainwell open over the middle, Sanders open on the right flat, throws a decent pass deep. Smith is able to get his hands on it, but able to bring it in. He can't catch it. Should have thrown it underneath. There's no reason to go deep all the time. It was 2nd and 12. A 7-8 yard completion brings up 3rd and 5, much more manageable than what we would end up having on a 3rd and 12. And that's one of the things that you'll notice on, now that I'm able to see the 12-man or the all 22, the image of everybody and the end zone picture, I can see where Hurts is looking before he passes. I can see who's covered. And that was one of the things that I pointed out that he did very well last year. He did not stare down receivers. He actually looked off safeties almost every time he threw a deep ball and was much more successful. He climbed the pocket very well. The only time he ran was when there was legitimate pressure. Very accurate, short and deep, make quick decisions. Just did a great job. But he's, in my opinion, he's regressing, right? of course, in Atlanta, he had a great game, but he has slowly regressed. His quarterback rating has declined. He basically is not on a good path. Hopefully this extra mini bye week that we have, because we played on Thursday and not again until Sunday afternoon, is helpful for him. But again, same issues we have with Wentz, starting to struggle. Now, more acceptable with him because he's a second year, essentially a rookie, but not good either way. So that incomplete pass brings up 3rd and 12 on our 23. There's a neutral zone infraction against Barrett. Shaquille Barrett is a 5-yard penalty, brings up 3rd and 7 on our 28, which would be like a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1 had he thrown the shorter route. Anyway, 3rd and 7 on our 28. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back, has good protection, feels pressure, scrambles right. Had he stayed in the pocket, climbed the pocket, relied on his offensive lineman, he would have seen Watkins wide open over the middle. By the way, Quez Watkins, in my opinion, has emerged as our top receiver. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So would have had Watkins wide over the middle, but as he scrambles, the pocket opens up even more. Watkins changes direction. He's covered. Hurts plants his foot, doesn't see Ertz open to the right, 25 yards downfield. Even though he looks that way, sees the opening in the pocket, runs forward for 11 yards. Now on 3rd and 7, it's a first down, and I guess maybe I'm nitpicking, but and I've said this numerous times, I would much rather, 100% much rather, Jalen Hurts throw the ball than run it. Every down, I'd much rather him throw the ball than run it, because if he's throwing the ball, he's less likely to get injured. I don't want him to be running the ball. I don't want him to lower his shoulder and hit anybody, because I don't want him to get injured. I want him to I'm hopeful that he can do well. I'm hopeful that he can get her out of this regression and start to do better. But in any case, he runs for the 11 yards. I wish he would have saw Ertz downfield. That was a 25-yard completion, but again, we did at least get a first down. 1st and 10 on our 39, Hurts in the gun, RPO, he keeps it. It's a run pass option, keeps it. I'm not sure, maybe it was a screen immediately after he keeps it to Watkins, but Kelsey's downfield, because Kelsey's downfield blocking, and that generally they don't do that on regular pass plays. Hurts looks that way, but he's covered. He has nowhere to go, and he's sacked for a 2-yard loss. It was a poor play call and design, and again, he gets sacked. So 2nd and 12 on our 37, Hurts in the gun again, drops back, has good protection. Rager's open, passes too short, bounces in front of Rager, poor pass by Hurts. So again, and that's not something I saw a lot. I mean, this is something that that Wentz started doing, and I don't know if it has something to do with, I mean, you can't say it's the coaching, because we're talking about a whole different team. But when has Hurts thrown the ball in the dirt to an open receiver? Not a very promising look. So after that incomplete pass, 3rd and 12 on our 37, Hurts in the gun, he drops back, he feels pressure. He didn't have pressure. The protection was actually pretty good. Rolls to his right, no one's open downfield. Watkins turns upfield, providing Hurts with a good target. Hurts throws a little short, and it's tipped, but Watkins makes that great catch. He's going one way, turns and leaps the other way to catch the ball. Great catch by Quez Watkins. And out of all the receivers, our first round, our 10th overall, Devontae Smith, Jalen Rager, first round pick the year before, even Greg Ward or JJ Arcega-Whiteside, which I don't think they've even thrown to. Watkins is the only one that's making those elite catches. And he made a couple in the game. Already had that toe tap, one that they thought was incomplete. He had one in the end zone, which he couldn't get his feet down, but he caught over another guy. Nobody else is catching the ball like that other than Watkins. So that's why I said I think he's one of the better receivers out there. So after that 23-yard completion, brings up 1st and 10 on Tampa Bay's 40. Jalen Hurts throws a short pass to Ertz for 3 yards. Miles Sanders gets hit with a 15-yard penalty for lowering his head to initiate contact. So that brings up 1st and 25 on our 44. Golston encroaches, so we get another 5 back. Brings up 1st and 20 on midfield. Hurts is in the gun again, has good protection. Rager's open, but Hurts throws the ball short. Rager tries to adjust to the ball and is hit by Dean for a pass interference. And Rager almost catches the ball anyway, which, that's his story, right? Almost catching the ball. Good play by Rager, another poor pass by Hurts, but fortunately ends up in pass interference. So we get a 1st and goal on Tampa Bay's 5. Hurts in the gun. Devontae Smith is his sole receiver to his right. He fakes the Sanders, rolls right. Ertz shuffles forward, looking like he's going to block, while Devontae Smith runs a pattern straight up the field. Creates a natural pick because Devontae Smith takes his own guy with him, and he gets in the way of the guy that's supposed to be covering Ertz. Ertz cuts right, wide to the right flat. Hurts sees him, easily throws a 5-yard touchdown pass. So that was a great play, great call, good design, and good execution by Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and Ertz that all teamed up for a touchdown. So that was good, a good comeback. Even though it relied on a poor pass that ended up in pass interference, at least we converted, right? Make the extra point. Score is 7-7. That was a 7-play, 75-yard drive. Took 3 minutes and 25 seconds off the clock. Go Birds. Okay. Buccaneers get the ball, 1st and 10 on their 25, 6:01 left in the first quarter. They run Fournette to the right for no gain. Great job shedding. Nelson does a great job shedding his block, hitting Fournette low for no gain. Fournette's a big guy. And he's hard to take down. Brings up 2nd and 10 on Tampa Bay's 25. Brady in the gun again. We bring 4. We are unable to get any pressure. Brady dumps it off underneath to Fournette, who gets 8 yards. Brings up 3rd and 2 on Tampa Bay's 33. Brady back again to pass. We bring 4. Are unable to get any pressure. Godwin runs a 5 and out. Slay gives them plenty of space on 3rd and 2. Easy pitch and catch for a 1st and 10 on Tampa Bay's 41. Brady back again. We bring 4. We can't get pressure. In fact, I don't think we sacked Brady at all this game. I think we struggled to get any pressure on Tom Brady. Singleton is the closest defensive back or guy in coverage to the line of scrimmage, and he's 10 yards off. Fournette runs underneath. Brady passes him over the middle for 11 yards. Easy 1st and 10 on our 48. And this is what I'm talking about. We play such a soft zone. We suck at zone, number one. And when we do play zone, we just leave the first 10 yards open. And it's, I don't understand how they think that's a successful strategy. Anyway, 1st and 10 on our 48. Brady throws a screen to Fournette, gets 3 yards, brings up 2nd and 7 on our 45. Fournette runs to the left for 9 yards. They have good blocking downfield. Fournette gets 5 extra yards after getting contacted. Brings up 1st and 10 on our 36. They run Jones up the middle this time for 4 yards. Brings up 2nd and 6 on our 32. Brady in the gun throws a screen to Jones. He gets 9 yards. So now we're looking at a 1st and 10 on our 23. Brady's a back to pass. We bring 4. Can't get any pressure. Brady has plenty of time. Initially, nobody's open, but it looks like there was some confusion in the secondary. Nelson looks like he's playing zone and drops Brown as he leaves to go to the deep left side of the field. Maddox, on the other hand, looks like he's playing man, stays on Godwin. I think he should have stayed in that middle zone where Brown was, but he follows Godwin deep into the end zone and off to the right, which means Brown is standing there wide open. Nobody's around him. Brady, of course, finds him, throws a quick pass right to him. Brown dodges Epps one step to the right, and Epps flies right by him. 23-yard touchdown pass. Extra points good. It is 14-7 in favor of the Bucs. That was a 9-play, 75-yard drive. Took 5 minutes and 28 seconds off the clock. They kick off at the touchback. We have a 1st and 10 on our 25. Run Miles Sanders to the left for 1 yard, and that ends the first quarter. Continuing into the second quarter, 2nd and 9 on our 26. Hurts in the gun again. They only bring 4, but no one blocks their linebacker, Shaquille Barrett. He gets a clean shot at Hurts. Hurts stays in the pocket, delivers a quick, accurate throw to Devontae Smith. Great play staying in the pocket. Great job throwing a quick, accurate pass. 6-yard completion, 3rd and 3 on our 32. Hurts in the gun again. They bring 5 and pressure Hurts, who throws a quick pass to Rager. It could have been a better pass, could have been more accurate, but it still hits him in his hands, and Rager drops it. Right? Unsurprising. It's something that he has done all season, in my opinion. He's had his moments where he was decent, but generally speaking, you can always rely on Rager for 1 or 2 drops a game, which is depressing. Okay, so that incomplete pass, right, that he should have caught, brings up 4th and 3. We punt. Bucs get the ball 1st and 10 on their 33. They run Jones up the middle for 3 yards, brings up 2nd and 7 on their 36. Brady drops back, throws a screen to Antonio Brown. Maddox does an excellent job reading the play, cuts through defenders, makes a great open field tackle for a 4-yard loss. So good job by Maddox. Brings up 3rd and 11 on Tampa Bay's 32. Brady in the gun again, drops back. We bring 5, including a defensive back blitz, but they pick it up. We're in zone. Brady throws a quick pass to an open Antonio Brown, who finds a spot. McGlade does a great job tackling him 1 yard short of a first down, but that's a little close for me. I would much rather we stop him after 5 yards than making it a 4th and 1. Because in theory, they probably could have snuck it and got it. In any case, fortunately on 4th and 1, Tampa Bay punts. We get the ball. 1st down and 10 on our 17 with 12:07 left in the half. Hurts in the gun again. Throws a screen to Miles Sanders. it's not, it's not a clean play. Miles Sanders is forced to go deeper than he should have to catch the pass. There's a blocker, and I should have written down who it was, but there's a blocker. I don't know if it was Jack Stoll, but somebody was blocking their man deep behind him. Now, if the pass is thrown shorter and a little closer to the line of scrimmage, Miles Sanders can catch it and take off. Instead, he has to spin out of that tackle, gets 4 yards instead of losing 3. So good job by Miles Sanders, but again, could have been a better play. 2nd and 6 on our 21. Hurts in the gun. He runs an RPO. He keeps it, looks downfield. Nobody's open. He's able to scramble for 1 yard. Brings up 3rd and 5 on our 22. Hurts in the gun again. Has good protection. Ertz is wide open. Hurts throws it to him, but the ball is over his head and uncatchable. So that brings up a 4th and 5. We punt. Tampa Bay gets the ball 1st and 10 on their 39 with 10:34 left in the half. They run Fournette to the right for 6 yards. Brings up 2nd and 4 on their 45. Fournette again to the right for no gain. Brings up 3rd and 4 on their 45. Brady in the gun. We bring 4. We have good coverage downfield. Cox is able to bull rush their center Jensen into Brady, forcing a quick throw. It's accurate, but Singleton has great coverage on Brady and is able to break up the pass. And that's the one where it's tipped and it almost gets intercepted by Epps. Initially called an interception, but after review, it was reversed. Great play all around by the defense. Good job putting pressure on Brady. And this is that's what we need to do. We need pressure because our coverage is not that good. But also still good coverage on Singleton. Good job breaking up the pass and almost picking it off. So 4th and 4, they punt. Brings up 1st and 10 on our 11 with 9:06 left in the first half. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Immediately looks to his left. Appears that it was a wide receiver screen to Smith, but it looks like Smith takes off running downfield, kind of looking around. So Hurts tries to run, but Jason Pierre-Paul, JPP, is able to sack him for a 1-yard loss. Hurts in the gun again on 2nd and 10 on our, 2nd and 11 on our 10. Hurts in the gun. He drops back. Initially, there's nobody open, but protection is so good he can stand there and wait for Ertz to get open on a long crossing pattern. And he throws an accurate pass, 16-yard completion, gives us 1st and 10 on our 26. Hurts in the gun again. He drops back, has decent protection, throws a deep ball off his back foot. Why off his back foot? I don't know. Towards Watkins. Right as he's throwing, Watkins is somewhat even with Dean. And there's a saying, right? If you're even, if I'm even, I'm leaving, right? So if Watkins is even with Dean the corner, that's a good throw because odds are he's going to pull away. And he does. He starts to pull away, but the pass is short. Watkins slows down, tries to make a play on it, tries to knock it down, but he can't. Interception by Dean. Not a bad decision to throw the ball to Watkins, even though he looked that way the whole time. Just a bad throw. And most likely because it was off his back foot. Why it was off his back foot, I don't know. There was no pressure. Go Birds. So good decision, poor throw by Hurts. After that pick, Tampa Bay gets the ball 1st and 10 on their 28, 7 minutes and 32 seconds left in the half. Brady goes back to pass again. Barnett is able to get outside on Kappa, spins inside to hit Brady right as he's throwing, causing a poor pass, incomplete. One thing you'll notice is Barnett's not the best end. He doesn't get to the quarterback often, and most likely because he has one move, at least that I've seen, and that's a spin move. He runs outside with his speed, stops, spins in, tries to get the quarterback. Successful occasionally, but not as often as what we're paying him for, right? And that incomplete pass brings up 2nd and 10 on Tampa Bay's 28. Brady in the gun again. We bring 4, can't get pressure. Brait's wide open over the middle for 12 yards. Brings up 1st and 10 on Tampa Bay's 40. They run Fournette to the left for 2 yards. Brings up 2nd and 8 on their 42. Brady in the gun again. Throws a screen to Brown for 14 yards. And if I don't mention any specific reason why they got 14 yards, for example, it just means they blocked well. We couldn't shed blocks, right? And if you wonder what the hell does it mean to shed a block? Well, in football, everybody gets blocked, right? You're always supposed to be blocked or the play's not going to be successful, right? So when you get blocked, you got to be able to figure out which way the play's going and then shed that block and go tackle, right? They didn't do that. So where were we? Oh, that was a screen. So it brings up 1st and 10 on our 44. Brady back to pass again. We bring 5. Can't get to Brady. Fournette runs out of the backfield. Open. Catches the ball for a 3-yard gain. Devion Taylor hits him immediately. But Fournette just shrugs him right off. Runs for another 15 yards. So that's an 18-yard completion. Brings up 1st and 10 on our 26. They run Fournette up the middle for 3 yards. Brings up 2nd and 7 on our 23. Brady throws a screen to Howard. He gets 10 yards. Brings up 1st and 10 on our 13. Brady back again. Throws another screen. This time to Godwin. It's well covered by Davion Teller, and he gets only 3 yards. So it brings up 2nd and 7 on our 10. Brady down in the gun again. We bring 4, can't get pressure. Brady throws a quick, accurate pass to Godwin over the middle for 6 yards. Brings up 3rd and 1 on our 4. They run Fournette to the right, and he gets 2 yards on 3rd and 1. He's hit by Singleton in the backfield, but Fournette's able to drag him for 3 yards. So that brings up a 1st and goal on our 2. It's also the 2-minute warning. They run up the middle, Fournette up the middle for 2 yards. They score a touchdown, kick the extra point. We're now losing 21-7. That was an 11-play, 72-yard drive. It took 5 minutes and 36 seconds off the clock. So they kick off. We get the ball. 1st and 10 on our 25. 1:56 left in the half. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Misses Gainwell open out of the flat. Pulls the ball down to run, even though there was no pressure. Bounces around in the pocket. Rolls to his right. Finds Ertz open, streaking across the field. Another thing, you know, this is the second or at least 3 or 4 times in this game did Hurts pull the ball down and start running or move around in the pocket when there was no pressure. He's got to rely more on his offensive line. Staying in the pocket is best for him. That allows the routes to develop. It allows him to see the field better. He needs to stay in the pocket more often. And I would much rather, I would embrace, or not embrace, but I would welcome sacks in the pocket over him running around and getting 1 or 2 yards. Because odds are he'd find more people and he'd throw the ball downfield and we'd be a more dynamic offense. Anyway, 2nd and 10 on our 25. Hurts in the gun again, drops back. It looks like Dillard didn't hear the snap, didn't think it was going on first on whatever snap it was, if it was the first count or the second count, whatever it was. Dillard didn't think that because he doesn't move. Dillard just stays in his stance the whole time. Barrett runs right by him, untouched, is able to pressure Hurts. Now, this is where I'll tell you. So I'm always, I'm sitting here saying, oh, Hurts shouldn't run. He should stay in the pocket. But I'll tell you what he does do well. When there is an immediate threat that he can't just stand in front of, he's able to get away well. And he did that again numerous times. And this is one of those. Barrett gets a clean run because Dillard just stays in his stance. Hurts is able to avoid the sack, rolls left. Nobody's open, and he gets 5 yards. So that's where I would like him to scramble. And when he does that, I'd like him to run out of bounds or slide. I don't want him to get hit. Brings up 3rd and 5 on our 30. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back, has excellent protection, but no one's open. He starts to move around in the pocket as if there's pressure. Eventually, he relaxes, finds Gainwell pulling away from Minter, their linebacker, but the pass is just over Gainwell. Could have been a great play. If he drops it in there, puts a little bit less on it. Gainwell grabs it, and I don't recall how many people were in front of Gainwell, but I feel like it would have been a pretty sizable gain. Anyway, missed opportunity, brings up 4th and 5. We punt. Tampa Bay gets the ball, 1st and 10 on their 35 with a minute 24 left in the game, or in the first half. Penalty on Wirfs, false start, gives them 1st and 15 on their 30. Brady in the gun again, drops back. We bring 4, can't get pressure. Slay slows down. Evans at his break, right? Possibly pass interference, but it wasn't called. Slows Evans down. The pass is not catchable, so that falls incomplete. Brings up 2nd and 15. Tampa Bay on their own 30. We bring 4. Brady in the shotgun and drops back. We are unable to get pressure. Brown is open, but Brady's pass is short, and Brown can't catch it. Has his hands on it, should have caught it, but doesn't, and we benefit from that miss. So that brings up 3rd and 15. Tampa Bay on their own 30. Brady in the shotgun again. We bring 4. Again, can't get pressure. Brady throws deep, but it looks like Brown cut his pattern off because there was no receiver of his that could have caught this. It goes straight to Anthony Harris, who makes an easy interception, and he takes it back to our 32. So we get the ball 1st and 10 on our 32 with 57 seconds left in the half. Hurts in the gun, drops back, good protection. Decent pass to a well-covered Rager. Hits him in the hands. He's well covered. Dean's on him, swipes the ball, but Dean does not touch the ball. Hits Rager in both hands like this, and he drops it again. So that brings up 2nd and 10 on our 32. Hurts in the gun again. He drops back. No one's open. Shaquille Barrett gets around Dillard, able to grab Hurts, who does a great job. Again, this is where I like Hurts' athleticism, is able to avoid the sack. Rolls to the left. No one's open. Throws it away. Brings up 3rd and 10 on our 32. Hurts in the gun again. He drops back. Has excellent protection. Stares at Watkins the whole time, hoping it comes open. He's triple teamed, right? Misses Gainwell open in the left flat. Misses Ertz open, streaking from right to left. Eventually, he takes off and scrambles for 6 yards. Brings up 4th and 4 on our 38. We punt. Tampa Bay gets the ball 1st and 10 on their 22 with 31 seconds left in the half. They throw a screen. They lose 4 yards, and that ends the first half. So far, it's been a real disappointing game. Well, let me tell you, not only is it 21-7, but let's see here. After the first half, Jalen Hurts was 5 for 14. Five completions out of 14 passes. That means he completed 35.7. That's horrible. 35% of his passes. Let's see. What was the time of possession here? Because I feel like they had the ball the whole time. Yeah, the first half, they had the ball 21 minutes and 5 seconds. We had the ball 8 minutes and 55 seconds. Horrible pass. Now, you know what could improve our time of possession and help Hurts make him, maybe the big deal here in Philly across both coaches is pressure. And I don't mean like, they're getting sacked often, but maybe it's because we throw the ball 80% of the time with a second-year quarterback. Maybe, just maybe, what I said last year and was successful last year, and what we haven't really done a lot of this year is run the fucking ball. Miles Sanders, in my opinion, top 5 running back in the league, and we waste him. We just let him sit there, going to waste. And you know what? With all this time he's not getting, he's, for all we know, he could regress as well. I mean, you need to practice, right? You need to get used to how the hole's open, where to cut. You need to know all that shit. Very disappointing. Okay. Half is over. I'm done bitching. Let's get to the second half, third quarter. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 25. Hurts throws a short pass to Ertz for 2 yards, brings up 2nd and 8 on our 27. We run the Miles Sanders to the right. He only gets 2 yards, and this is what I'm talking about. Miles Sanders, still think he's a top 5 back in the league. If he hits this hole faster, he's got a nice lane that he can squeeze through. Kelsey does a great job at the end blocking the guy that he thinks is in the hole. He ends up bouncing it out, gets 2 yards, better than nothing, but probably could at least got 5 or 6 had he just went straight and hit the hole faster. Brings up 3rd and 6 on our 29. Hurts in the gun. He drops back, has good protection. No one's open. Throws to the left to Devontae Smith, who's just planning to make a cut. The ball is thrown too far inside. Smith has to knock it down and prevent an interception. Bad pass by Hurts. Look at the play with Dickerson and Kelsey. They double team that split. We got Julio. I appreciate the comment, but I don't know which one you're talking about. Let me know what the time in the game is. Let me know what the time in the game, and I'll take a look at it and we can talk about it. But so an incomplete pass to Smith brings up 4th and 6 on our 29. We punt. Buccaneers get the ball 1st and 10 on their 21 with 13:28 left in the third quarter. Brady drops back to pass. We bring 4. Can't get any pressure. Throws over the middle for 5 yards. Brings up 2nd and 5 on their 26. Brady in the gun again. We bring 4. Can't get pressure. Maddox gets turned around. Cardinal rule of quarterbacks: do not let that happen. Leaving Brown wide open. He's able to recover quickly. So even though the ball is completed, it is only completed for 4 yards on 2nd and 5. So at least he stops it from being a first down. So we got 3rd and 1 on Tampa Bay's 30. They run Fournette to the right. We stack the line to prevent the run. Singleton does a great job filling the hole, but can't bring Fournette down. Harris hits him at the 37, but he can't bring him down. Slay and Wilson hit him at the 42, and he drags them for another 8 yards. It's a 20-yard run in 3rd and 1. So that brings up 1st and 10 on midfield. They run Fournette this time to the left for 5 yards. 2nd and 5 on our 45. Brady in the gun. We can't get any pressure on him. He throws to Fournette, crossing in front of Singleton. He makes a good open field tackle to prevent a first down. So that's 3rd and 1 on our 41. Is run Fournette up the middle for 6 yards. 1st and 10 on our 35. Come on, birds. Well, Julio, if you can go back and if you remember what quarter it's in, if you remember, I think I know what you're talking about. There was a play where they caught one of the defensive linemen, and I'll go over. One of the defensive linemen crashes down, leaving their linebacker or defensive end to get a free shot on Hurts. But so maybe I covered it, or maybe I will cover it. It hasn't happened yet. Okay, so we are Fournette up the middle for 6 yards. 1st and 10 on our 35. They run Jones up the middle for 2 yards. Brings up 2nd and 8 on our 33. Brady throws a screen. to Howard. Singleton misses a tackle at the 31, which would have limited the gain to 2 yards. Would have been 3rd and 1, but instead they get 9 yards. 1st and 10 on our 24. Brady drops back to pass. It's a play action. We bring 4. Can't get pressure. We're in man, and Eric Wilson gets beat by Howard. 15-yard completion. 1st and goal on our 9. They run Fournette to the left for 7 yards. Teron Jackson misses this tackle at the line of scrimmage. Nelson's easily blocked by Godwin, leaving no one on the edge. Harris does a great job running Fournette down to hit him right before he gets into the end zone. So at least we prevented a touchdown, right? Brings up 2nd and goal from our 2. Brady throws an incomplete pass, and Slay's called for defensive interference. It was clearly pass interference. Slay's hugging him as the ball's in the air. So they get 1st and goal on our 1. Fournette up the middle for no gain. Cox is unblocked, makes a great tackle for no gain. 2nd and goal on our 1. They run Fournette up the middle. This time he gets through. They kick the extra point. It's good. Score is 28-7 in favor of the Bucs. It was a 12-play, 79-yard drive. Took 7 minutes and 41 seconds off the clock. We get the ball. 1st and 10 on our 25. 5:47 left in the 3rd quarter. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back, fakes to Sanders. Excellent protection. Looks to his left, then to his right underneath to Smith, freezing the safety. And the corner covering Smith, then throws a deep pass to the right sideline for Reagor. So good job looking off the corner and the safety. As he's winding up to throw the ball, we're talking about a deep streak down the sideline. Reagor actually slows down. He didn't think he was getting the ball. Starts to jog a little bit, realizes the ball's in the air towards him, starts sprinting. He's able to get one hand on it, but he can't catch it. Fortunately for us, Edward grabbed Reagor's left hand. He's able to touch it with his right hand. Grabs Reagor's hand in the middle of the catch, called for pass interference. But had Reagor not slowed down, had Reagor just completed his route, he would have had a step. He would have more separation on who was it? Edwards would have had more separation on Edwards. Wouldn't have had to slow down. Probably caught the ball in stride. Right. Most likely been a touchdown. Most likely. I mean, who knows? But had he not cut his route off, had he not given up, thinking he wasn't getting the ball, play could have looked different. So anyway, we had a 1st and 10 on their 25. Hurts is in the gun again. Gainwell in motion to the left. He drops back. He pump fakes to Gainwell. Had he thrown to Gainwell, most likely Gainwell would have gotten a decent amount of yards because he had other receivers right in front of him that were right about hitting their corners that could have blocked. But he doesn't. He turns left. He looks deep right for Smith, who's covered. Looks to his left, right as Ertz cuts and is open. Doesn't throw the ball. Then he turns left again and finally stares at Gainwell and throws to him after all that. And the gain's only 1 yard. Had he thrown it immediately to Gainwell, most likely gets 5, maybe 6. I mean, it depends on what kind of a play Gainwell makes, which he's made some plays. But there's a much better chance that he gets a significant amount more yards. This is, in my opinion, this is one of his issues, is that I think he's trying most of the time, especially, and this is what I mean by pressure. We're down 28-7 in the 3rd quarter, almost the end of the 3rd quarter. He feels pressure to make big plays to come back. I don't want him to feel that pressure. I want him to go, admittedly, it's not going to be as easy to come back if you're throwing shorter passes, but at the same time, if you're throwing shorter, high percentage passes, you're more likely to keep the ball longer throughout the whole game, and you're more likely to score. Anyway, so 2nd and 9 on Tampa Bay's 24. He's in the gun again. Throws a screen to Ertz for 6 yards. Brings up 3rd and 3 on Tampa Bay's 18. We run Miles Sanders to the left for 5 yards. Brings up 1st and 10 on Tampa Bay's 13. We run Miles Sanders to the left. Should have gone through the hole. Had good blocking, but bounced it outside. Loses 2 yards. Brings up 2nd and 12 on Tampa Bay's 25. Tampa Bay's 15. Hurts in the gun again. Runs RPO. He keeps it. Gets 9 yards. Brings up 3rd and 3 on Tampa Bay's 6. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Initially has good protection, but nobody's open. He sees Watkins running from right to left as the protection is breaking down. Throws a pass into the end zone for Watkins, who's hit by Dean before it gets there. Clearly pass interference, but they don't call it. He's still able to make the catch. I hit my mic over Dean's back, which is the best catch that any Eagle has had. Devontae Smith did have a good diving one, but one of the better catches that any Eagle has had for a long time. But he just isn't able to fall down in bounds because he's being pushed out. So excellent catch by Watkins. Good hands. Would have been better if he could have got both feet down, but would have been even better if the ref saw the pass interference in the end zone. So 4th and 3 on Tampa Bay 6. Hurts is in the gun. We go for it. He drops back, has good protection. No one's open. He's able to scramble to the right and easily run in for a touchdown. So that's good. I like when nobody's open, go ahead and run, right? Extra points good. We cut the lead in half, 28-14. That was a 7-play, 75-yard drive. Took 3 minutes and 32 seconds, half as long as it took the Bucs to get down the field in a similar amount, 75 yards. We kick off. Tampa Bay gets the ball 1st and 10 on their 25 with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in the third. Brady in the gun, drops back. We bring 5, can't get pressure. Brady throws a deep ball to Brown, who's covered well by Slay, and it's incomplete. Good play by Slay. Brings up 2nd and 10 on their 25. Brady in the gun again, throws a screen to Brown. Anthony Harris does an excellent job slipping through defenders, making a solid open field tackle for no gain. Brings up 3rd and 10 on Tampa Bay's 25. Brady in the gun again. We bring 4. Cox is able to get around their right guard Kappa, get in Brady's face, forcing him to dump it off to Bernard. We're able to stop him before he can get a first down. Brings up 4th and 2 on their 38. They punt. After the punt, there's offensive holding. So it was enforced after the punt, 10-yard penalty. So we get the ball 1st and 10 on our 15, 38 seconds left in the third quarter. Hurts in the gun, throws a screen to Watkins. Barrett does a great job reading it, slows Watkins down, and then eventually tackles him for a 3-yard loss. So good play by Barrett. Should have blocked him, but you can't always win. That ends the third quarter. We start the fourth quarter, 2nd and 13 on our 12. Hurts is in the gun. He fakes to Sanders. Sanders misses the block on their linebacker White, who forces Hurts to roll right. He finds Watkins deep, who catches the ball, has 1 foot in bounds, drags the other for another excellent sideline catch. So another good catch in this game. Initially called incomplete. It was so good they couldn't even tell he caught it. But after they reviewed it, they reversed it. He did have 1 foot in and drug the other one. Good job this time for Hurts. It was immediate pressure he couldn't avoid. Rolls to his right, looks downfield, and throw a good pass to Quez Watkins. So good job all around, other than by Miles Sanders for not chipping that guy coming in. 1st and 10 on our 36. Hurts in the gun again. We only have 2 receivers out in patterns. They bring 5. Whitehead gets deep, causing Hurts to step up and roll right. No one's open. Throws it away. 2nd and 10 on our 36. Hurts in the gun again. Has excellent protection. Stands in the pocket. Throws an accurate pass to Devontae Smith over the middle. 25-yard completion. Great throw. Great catch. That's what he has to do more of. Stay in the pocket. Look downfield. Go Birds. Brings up 1st and 10 on Tampa Bay's 39. We run Miles Sanders to the left. He gets 11 yards. Brings up 1st and 10 on Tampa Bay's 28. Hurts in the gun again. Barrett goes right around Kelsey to pressure Hurts, forces him to run up the pocket. Unfortunately, Vea is there to grab him before he's able to escape for a positive gain, so it counts as a sack, no yards lost. Brings up 2nd and 10 on their 28. Hurts in the gun again, throws a screen. Cockrell reads it really well, and the ball's knocked down, so it's incomplete. Brings up 3rd and 10 on Tampa Bay's 28. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Pierre-Paul crashes. Here's the one that I think you're talking about. Well, maybe it wasn't Kelsey. You said Dickerson and Kelsey. The one I'm talking about here is Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Pierre-Paul, I believe, is on the right-hand side. He crashes down. Jordan Mailata goes with him. And then Minter starts rushing right in where that void is. Miles Sanders is in the backfield and doesn't even chip him. Lets him have a free run at Hurts, and then Miles Sanders, runs out into the center of the field and right past and turns around as if Hurts has his chance to throw it to him. But Hurts again, another play where Hurts does a great job avoiding the sack, scrambles to the right, throws the ball away. But that's the one where JPP crashes down to the left, leaving Minter wide open, and again Sanders doesn't even chip him. So that incomplete pass brings up a 4th down. We punt. Buccaneers get the ball 1st and 10 on their 36 with 12:38 left in the game. They run Jones to the left. Jones is hit after 2 yards, but he carries Taylor on his back by Devion Taylor. Carries Devion Taylor on his back for another 7 yards, so that 9-yard run. Brings up 2nd and 1 on Tampa Bay's 45. They run Jones up the middle again for 2 yards. 1st and 10 on Tampa Bay's 47. They run Jones to the left for 9 yards. Fortunately, they hold. So that brings up 1st and 20 on Tampa Bay's 37. Brady drops back. We bring 5. We're able to get close to him, but he throws a quick pass to Evans for 5 yards. Good open field tackle by Slay to prevent a longer return. 2nd and 15 on Tampa Bay's 42. Brady in the shotgun again. We bring 4, can't get pressure, dumps it off underneath to Brate for 4 yards. Brings up 3rd and 11. Tampa Bay's 46. Brady in the gun again. We blitz Harris and Wilson, included in a 5-man blitz. They're able to pick it up easily. Brady dumps it off to Howard on the right flat. Avery's able to trip him up so he doesn't get a much larger gain. If you remember that one, Avery runs after him and he kind of trips up and falls forward. Fortunately, on 3rd and 11, he only gets 8, and that brings up 4th and 3 on our 46. Had he tackled him immediately, probably would have been more like a 4th and 5, 4th and 6. Had he not tripped, would have been easily a first down. On that 4th and 3 at our 46, Brady is in the gun. We bring 5, can't get pressure. Brady throws slightly over Howard, who has a step on Taylor, and it is incomplete. So rare occasion where Brady throws a poor pass, and we benefited. So they failed to convert that 4th down. We get 1st and 10 on our 46 with 8:59 left in the game. Hurts in the gun, throws a pass to the right to Miles Sanders. He gets 6 yards, brings up 2nd and 4 on Tampa Bay's 48. Miles Sanders runs to the left for 23 yards. Huge hole opened up by the offensive line. Sanders dodges a couple tackles too, so great play all around. It's almost like we should do that more often, right? Brings up 1st and 10 on Tampa Bay's 25. We're Miles Sanders again to the right for 14 yards. Another huge hole opened up by the offensive line. Good running again by Miles Sanders, one of the top backs in the league. Brings up 1st and 10 on Tampa Bay's 11. RPO, Hurts keeps it, runs out of bounds, gets 7 yards. Brings up 2nd and 3 on Tampa Bay's 4. We run Miles Sanders to the left for 3 yards. 1st and goal on their 1. Hurts drops back and throws the ball away. Can't find a receiver. Fortunately, there's defensive holding. So we get 1st and goal. We redo the down. 1st and goal on Tampa Bay's 1. Run Miles Sanders up the middle. He loses a yard. Miles Sanders is not the best short yardage guy. That's why I wanted Jordan Howard to stay on the team. That's why I wanted James Conner, who has already had a couple of touchdowns in short yardage. James Conner, who I think we could easily afford. He may make a little bit more than Jordan Howard, who I don't know if he was cut or if he's on the practice squad. Anyway, they can't get in immediately, so we run a sneak with Jalen Hurts, 2 yards, and he gets a touchdown. Now, because we're down, that would make it 28 to 21. So we figured to win the game, we might as well give it a shot and go for 2. If we fail the 2 yard and we score again, we can do another 2 to tie it. So we attempt it. Jalen Hurts rolls right, throws a pass to Quez Watkins. Accurate pass, great catch by Watkins. So we succeed in that 2-point attempt. Score is 28 to 22 in favor of the Bucs. That was a 7-play, 54-yard drive. Took 3 minutes and 5 seconds off the clock. They get the ball 1st and 10 on their 25 with 5:54 left in the game. They run Fournette to the left for 2 yards. Unfortunately, this is that bullshit taunting that they're focusing on. Washington, Watson. Oh, Deshaun Watson should go to Washington. I think he's going to Miami. I think Deshaun Watson is going to Miami. I read that Miami and Houston were pretty far in talks. I think he's in talks with Miami. I thought I just read that tweet. We do. The positive note is that if we can get our shit together, if Hurts starts to play more like he did last year and more like he did earlier on in the season, climbs the pocket more often, a little more accurate on his throws, we've been inches away from some really big plays and not too far away from, how many touchdowns did we lose because our receivers stepped out of bounds? So we're not that bad of a team. The reason, in my opinion, I would have kept JJ over Travis Fulgham, because I think the type of receiver that Fulgham was, we had that type. Fulgham is not a real big guy. And they, I would say, I don't know why we kept Fulgham over Rager, because theoretically Fulgham has dropped less passes than Rager has. But I would keep JJ because he's a big guy. He's the biggest. I think he's the biggest receiver we have. Not counting tight ends. So, and that's why I wanted to keep Trevon Grimes. I was hopeful we could keep. He was a big guy. But he's, I think they keep JJ Arcega-Whiteside to block. I think he's a blocking wide receiver. I don't think Fulgham was anything special compared to Devontae Smith, Watkins, Hightower, and and Rager. They probably all did better in training camp than Fulgham. So anyway, so Fournette runs for 2 yards, but dumbass Avery stands over him, taunts him, which wasn't really that bad of a taunt. Last year probably wouldn't have gotten anything, but this year they're being a bunch of bitches about it. And anytime anybody does anything that can be considered taunting, it's a 15-yard penalty, which is, I mean, I guess to a degree. Sorry, Instagram, I haven't been paying attention to you. Let's see if I can wave. I guess to a degree, right? You don't want to hurt people's feelings or you don't want to gloat, but I mean, we're playing a man's sport. Are you that soft that you can't take a little bit of, Yeah, I thought Miami. I read a text that Miami and Houston was close for Watson. And I'm up in the air about that one. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing, a bad thing. I don't know the status of all his the sexual stuff, the allegations. So okay, so after Avery gets caught for taunting, gives Tampa Bay a 1st and 10 on their 42. They run Fournette to the right for no gain. 2nd and 10 on their 42. Brady in the shotgun. Godwin and Brown cross patterns. Godwin creates a natural pick for Brown. He's wide open. Could have had more yardage, but he slips. So that completion is for 10 yards. Brings up a 1st and 10 on our 48. They run Fournette up the middle for 1 yard. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I felt like there were a couple of plays that weren't called against the Cowgirls. They might be, they might have, some people higher up that are, I'm not suggesting there's any cheating, but you never know, right? Okay, so Fournette up the middle for a yard. Brady throws a screen to Fournette for 2 yards. We call our first timeout. 3:24 left in the game. 3rd and 7. Bucks on our 45. Brady's in the gun. He drops back. We bring 4. Can't get any pressure. Evan beats Slay early and is open, but Brady doesn't see him. Thank goodness. He rolls right. Brown runs in the same direction, right past McLeod. Brady throws a pass slightly behind Brown. Epps is right there. Could have easily knocked it down, but he doesn't. Goes right past Epps. Brown catches it for 27 yards. It's a 1st and 10 on our 18. They run Fournette to the left for a loss of a yard. We call a timeout. 2nd and 11 with 2:35 left in the game. Brady in the gun. We bring 5. Can't get pressure. Brate runs a 5 and in. Fakes out first. Goes in. Singleton falls for the out. Wide open. Easy pass. 10-yard completion. We call our last timeout with 2:27 left in the game. Brady, 3rd and 1 on our 9. Runs a sneak for 3 yards. 2-minute warning. And Brady kneels for the rest of the game. So, admittedly, a closer game than I had expected. And we rallied at the end there to come back, right? But it just wasn't enough. And that last drive, pretty frustrating. That taunting call, big call on what would have been 2nd and 8. For all the, hey, our run defense sucks. Our run defense sucks. With the analysts say, when things got tight, they passed successfully against our struggling secondary. So that's the game. All right. Your starters. Of course, Jalen Hurts started. Miles Sanders started and played 83% of the game. Kenneth Gainwell only had about 23% of the snaps. Ertz was the starter, played 88% of the game. Goddard, remember, was injured or on the COVID-19 list. I don't know if that many has it or was around somebody that has it, but he's off on the list and unavailable. So no second tight end. I think I didn't see it, but I think Stoll played a very small percentage of the game. Our starting wide receivers were Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, and Rager. Smith played 98% of the snaps, Watkins 77, Rager 83. Greg Ward was in there 13% of the time, and good old Arcega-Whiteside, your boy, was in 8. I have not heard that he's cleared up, and I don't know that he's taken any subsequent tests, and I don't know that he can because I don't know if he has it or if he was around somebody that had it. But no, he hasn't been cleared yet. Offensive linemen, all 5 started 100% of the snaps, which is awesome. Andre Dillard, Jason Kelsey, center, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, and Jack Driscoll. On defense, defensive line starters were Sweat, Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, and Derek Barnett. Sweat played 79%, Hargrave 79%, Cox 81%, Derek Barnett 87%. Hassan Ridgeway played 23, Ryan Kerrigan 21, Milton Williams 17, and Teron Jackson 13. A lot of people they're rotating, and I like that. I like keeping people fresh. Jannard Avery, Devion Taylor, and TJ Edwards were our starting linebackers. And there was they spread out the time for those linebackers a lot, pretty evenly. Avery was in 53%, Taylor 49%, Edwards 32%, Eric Wilson was in there 31%, and Alex Singleton, even though he didn't start, played more than anybody else, 63%. Go Birds. Starting corners were Steve Nelson and Darius Slay. They both played 100%. Maddox was in there 68%. Safeties were Rodney McLeod and Anthony Harris. Anthony Harris played 88%, McLeod 72%, and Epps was in there 43% of the time. Hurts struggled. Hurts has been regressing, right? He's been doing poorer and poorer every game. Well, Driscoll's not a tight end. We just signed Rodgers to the practice squad. I don't know if he's going to start. Jack Stoll was in there. Maybe that's what you meant by Driscoll. Jack Stoll was up there, but we might start Richard Rodgers or at least put him in there. He's got plenty of time, and Richard Rodgers has played with us the last 2 or 3 years, and he's had he's contributed. So I think he would fit in there well if Goddard isn't able to recover. But we got Jack Stoll, and they're hopeful that is it Tyree Jackson. I think they'd started the 21-day window for him. They're very optimistic that Tyree Jackson can get do well as a tight end. Remember, a transferred tight end quarterback. So Hurts struggled. He ended the game 12 completions on 26 attempts. That's a completion percentage of 46.2, which is very bad. He had 115 total passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked twice, lost 2 yards in those sacks. Quarterback rating was 55.8. That is poor. He also had 10 rushes for 44 yards, 4.4 average, and 2 touchdowns. Miles Sanders had 9 rushes for 56 yards, 6.2 average. Just to give you some perspective, the only people that had any rushes or any rushing yards were Miles Sanders and Hurts, and Miles Sanders only rushed the ball 9 times, and 9 times throughout the whole game. That last drive he had 3 or 4, 3 in a row or 2 in a row. So, just not running him very often. We ran the ball, and I mentioned, he also had 4 targets, 2 receptions, 10 yards, which isn't real meaningful. We only ran the ball 19 times. Technically, we only ran the ball 9 because 10 of those were Hurts. Even if it's a planned run, that doesn't count for me. Ertz was our top receiver. There was a lot of talk about giving him a platform to show his stuff off, to play his last Philly game. They weren't concerned about injury because they knew he was going to be traded. He was our top receiver, targeted 6 times, 4 receptions, 29 yards, 7.3 average, 1 touchdown. Our first-round draft pick, Devontae Smith, was targeted 4 times, had 2 receptions for 31 yards, 15.5 average. And then Quez Watkins, who I think is our top receiver as far as being able to catch the ball, had 3 receptions on 4 targets, 44 yards, 14.7 average. Third down, we struggled. We were 3 for 10, not good. Tampa Bay was 7 for 13, which is above the average. 53.8% is above average. I think the average is in the 40s on third down. We were 1 for 1 on fourth. That was good. We were 3 for good job in the goal to go in red zone. We were 3 for 3 in the red zone, 2 for 2 in goal to go. So when we were in the red zone and we were on the goal line, we punched it in. So good job. Tampa Bay wasn't much worse. 3 to 4 in both. 3 out of 4 in the red zone. 3 out of 4 in goal to go. Tampa Bay had significantly more yardage. We had 213 total yards. They had 399. Same even rushing yards. We had 100. They had 102. But they crushed us in passing. Hurts only had 115 passing yards. They had 297, and they dominated the time of possession. We had the ball 20 minutes and 4 seconds. They had it for 39 minutes and 56 seconds, almost double the time. And we are 31st in the league in time of possession, so almost last. Another little stat, not a real exciting one for us Eagles fans, but in Tom Brady's career, he has 112 games where he's had 40-plus passes. But this is the first time that he's ever had a completion percentage of 80% or over. I hate when those fuckers get records against us, but he was 34 for 42. He completed 81% of his passes. All right, let's get some Eagles news real quick. Lane Johnson, you probably have heard he has returned from his time off. He said that he was apparently taking time off because he was suffering from depression and or anxiety. We're not going to comment on any of that stuff because that's not football related. He was a limited participant in practice, not because of his ankle, but because of the time he took off to get reintegrated into the offense. I know you asked this, Julio, but Dallas Goedert is still. Yeah, I think Lane Johnson will play. Dallas Goedert's still on the COVID reserve list. No news on him. I mentioned that the Eagles have opened a 21-day practice window for Tyree Jackson and Kayvon Wallace, so they're both healthy enough to play. So hopefully, I mean, Tyree Jackson, if he's as good as everybody expects him to, him and Goddard are going to have a good time, taking turns at tight end, and we might have a nice tall guy to throw things to. Sua Opeta returned from the COVID-19 reserve list. And again, Carson Wentz played 100% of the offensive snaps for the Texans. This is week 6. They have a week 14 bye, so we'll know. I mean, again, we're assuming that all games have the same snap count, not necessarily the same, not necessarily true. In theory, though, you'd think there'd be a lower snap count if for some reason Wentz wasn't in there, because you think they'd be running off and the clock would go down. They probably wouldn't be as successful, right, and all that. So assuming that there's an equal snap count in every game, the break even is 12 games and 3/4 of a game. If the Colts don't make the playoffs, if the Colts are able to make the playoffs, then he only needs to play 12 games. Now, of course, again, if he plays 11 games and 3/4 of a game, most likely he'll hit that number. That 70% is what the number is. 70% of the snaps, or 75%, because typically you would have less snaps after the fact. A couple roster moves. We all have heard the tight end Zach Ertz was traded to the Cardinals. Good for him. Good for us. I don't think he was very productive. I think Goddard's better. I think we have a good backup in Stolen. Again, I'm excited about Tyree Jackson, who I've heard only good things about from training camp before he got hurt. In return for the trade, we got corner Tay Gowan. And I mentioned earlier that we have a third 2022 5th-round draft pick. Corner Gowan will wear number 36. It's only a big deal if you're a big Eagles fan and you were around back when Brian Westbrook was here. Brian Westbrook was one of the better running backs that we've had. I think he had a miracle in the Meadowlands. It wasn't counted as miracle in the Meadowlands, but he had a game where he ran back a punt or something against the Giants to win the game, but it wasn't considered a miracle in Meadowlands. Yeah, that's not going to be one of our strongest positions if Goddard isn't able to come off the COVID list. But I think I think he will, because he was put on the list, I think, the Tuesday before the last game, which means 10 days would be up on Friday. So Goddard should be able to make it back, because I think they have to be off. If they get it, they have to either even if they test negative, I think they still have to be off for a window, and it's usually around 10 days. So Goddard should be back. But if Goddard gets hurt, then we're struck. Well, we have Richard Rodgers, so I don't know that I'd say we fuck, because Richard Rodgers was decent as a tight end. We got Richard Rodgers back. We have Jack Stoll, which everybody's big on. He had a reception, I think, in a few games earlier. So now corner Gowan, again, he's going to wear 36. He was drafted by the Cardinals in the 6th round, 223 overall in the most recent draft. 6'1", 186. 6'1" is good. That's tall for a corner. I like that. 4'4", 940. Not bad. He's not going to, he's not going to be able to cover everybody, but that's not bad. 35.5-inch vertical, not bad. Could be better. 118-inch broad jump, that's okay. A broad jump just is explosiveness, right? Didn't play a lot at UCF. He started 9 of the 12 games, had 31 tackles. 22 of those were solo. 2 picks, and then he opted out in 2020. So another opt-out in 2020, which I'm not a fan of, but we also signed wide receiver Deon Cain to the practice squad. He was picked in the 6th round by the Colts in 2018 from Clemson. That's where the connection comes from with Sirianni. He was on the Colts active roster and practice squad. He was on Pittsburgh's active roster and practice squad. He played 15 regular season games. He has 9 catches for 124 yards. At Clemson, he played 42 games, started 14 of them, 3 seasons. He had 130 receptions for 2,040 yards and 20 touchdowns. And his junior final year in college, he was named 3rd team All ACC. I think he's actually a tall guy too. I don't know why I don't have his height and weight, but I think Deon Cain. Let's see if I can look it up quick enough. He's a tall guy as well. Let's see. How tall is Dean Cain? 6'2", 202. So at 6'2", Deon Cain would be one of the tallest, if not the tallest receiver on our team, excluding tight ends. So That's good. I want a big guy there. I want a tall guy. I want a tall receiver out there, given a big radius for Hurts to throw the ball to. We released linebacker Christian Ellis from the practice squad. We've said this a couple times. We signed tight end Richard Rodgers to the practice squad, who I think is a good. He's not Dallas Goedert. He's not. I don't know if he's even. He might even be. He might be about the same as Zach Ertz as Zach Ertz was playing recently. But we released tackle Casey Tucker from the practice squad. And we did protect 4 people on the practice squad, which means nobody can take them between now and next week. We protected tackle LaRaven Clark, wide receiver John Hightower, defensive back Elijah Riley, and tight end Noah Togiai, which might be who they're thinking about might help at the tight end. So, okay, let's get to the bald eagle fact. Go Birds. One of my favorite parts of the show, I take a look back in time. Read about some old seasons, started at the beginning, 1933. I look at some of the NFL's 100 top games, top players. I look at NFL draft classes. I look at and I started from the beginning. For me, it's a very interesting a part of the podcast because I learned more about the Eagles that I didn't even know. I learned about some old players. Steve Van Buren was a beast. Go Birds, Julio. Go Birds. But this time I'm going to talk about the 6th ever NFL draft held in 1941. I mean, technically it was the 1941 draft, but it was held December 10th, 1940, at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. The Willard Hotel was founded in 1847, updated to the way it currently looks in 1901, and it still stands. It's 2 blocks east of the White House, 2 blocks west of the Metro Center station of Washington Metro. The first round, we traded our pick to the Bears. Second round, 11th overall, we took a guy named Art Jones, a back from Richmond. He ended up playing 2 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And a lot of these guys did, because if you remember, something that I didn't know, that I found out when I covered the 1940 or 41 season, was there was something called the Philly Polka, I think it was, where I don't remember the specifics because it was pretty detailed, but us and the Steelers essentially switched teams. So the majority of the Eagles players went to Pittsburgh, and the majority of the Pittsburgh players went to Eagles. They kept the same name, and the NFL considers them continuous. I don't know what you want to say it, teams, because back then all that mattered was the city that you played in. So as long as the Eagles existed and the Steelers continued to exist, they were continuous teams. But there was a swap in ownership, swap in state, all that stuff. So a lot of these guys were drafted by the Eagles, but then ended up playing in Pittsburgh because they were part of that swap. And Art Jones was one of them. He played 2 years for the Steelers. Third round, 16th overall, we drafted Marion Pugh, a back from Texas A&M. He played 2 years for the Giants. Fourth round, 26th overall, we drafted Al Gesquire, back from Detroit. He ended up turning down a $1,200 a year offer from the Eagles. And it worked over 40 years for the Uniroyal Tire Company. Let's see. In 1941, the $1,200 would currently be $22,392. So not a real significant number today, but probably more meaningful back then, when I think that was when people were making a lot less. In the 5th round, 31st overall, we drafted Royal Kaler, tackle from Nebraska. He played 2 seasons in the NFL, one for Pittsburgh, one for Green Bay. That's a good question. I would say, if I haven't paid a lot of attention to Beckham, if he's matured, I'd probably go with him. Because he had some solid, he had solid hands, and we need somebody with hands. Michael Thomas is good and consistent, but I think isn't Odell Beckham younger as well? I don't know his age off the top of my head, but I feel like he's been around, hasn't been around as long as Michael Thomas. So I would go with Beckham. I would absolutely embrace Beckham and make him by far our top receiver. He would easily be receiver 1. Okay, so after 6th round, 41st overall, we drafted Howard Red Hickey, an end from Arkansas. He played 5 years in the NFL with Pittsburgh, Cleveland/LA Rams. They moved. He ended up coaching the Niners from 59 to 1963. And they say he was a creator of the shotgun, but at the same time, he devised the shotgun But at the same time, they said that people used it back in the 40s. So maybe he got credit for creating because he used it more often. So Odell is 30. How old is Michael Thomas? He's 28. He's younger, so I'm wrong. I don't know why I thought Odell Beckham was younger. Let's look. Make sure. He's 28. They're the same age. I think Odell Beckham has less mileage on him though, because hasn't Thomas been playing consistently every year, and Beckham had some years off for injury. I'd still go with Beckham. I still love the catch. I love the hands. So I would go with him. Okay, 7th round, 51st overall, Julius Batista, guard from Florida, never played professional football. 9th round, 71st overall, PK Rogers, a back from East Texas State, never played football. 10th round, 81st overall, Don Williams, a tackle from Texas. He played 1 year for Pittsburgh. 11th round, 91st overall, Marshall Stenstrom. He was a back from Oregon, never played professional football. Back in the 40s, it's unfortunate, but back in the 40s, the NFL was not a big deal. College football was much bigger, and they didn't have the money. In fact, I remember the first year we won the championship, 1948. We almost went bankrupt. We were struggling financially. 12th round, 101st overall, John Patrick, a back from Penn State. He played 3 years for Pittsburgh. 13th round, 111 overall. Yeah, but I don't know that he does how he finds inventive ways to get people, and I'm not. I don't hate what he did. I feel like we have a very talented team. Our defense sucks, right? Our defenses are. I'm sorry, our defense doesn't suck. Our defensive line is good. Our secondary is poor. Our secondary and our receivers, and we tried to upgrade receivers. Admittedly, we went with the Heisman winner, the first 10th overall, Devontae Smith, but we needed a corner. We needed a linebacker that can cover, a linebacker that can. I would have loved Micah Parsons. I hate that the Cowgirls got him. I would have loved one of the corners too. I haven't checked to see how well they're doing. I think both of them are injured, but I would have loved a corner too. But I don't hate what Howie's done. I don't. I think we have a relatively talented team, and realistically, if Jalen Hurts gets his shit together, and he can play like a not a top elite quarterback his second year, I wouldn't expect that. But maybe have a quarterback rating in the 80-ishes. I think we have a chance. I think we have a shot. Our defense can stop people. We run the ball more often with Miles Sanders, and Kenneth Gainwell has been a baller. He's done really well. Yeah, Smith is. Yeah, I would agree. I would Micah Parsons. I would have much rather, but Smith is doing okay. Now it's his rookie year. Maybe it takes some adjustment, right? So maybe he does really well next year, right? I mean, I hate to blow off this year, but yeah, I don't hate our team. I think our team is talented. I think our team can do well. And again, if we run the ball more often, take some pressure off of Hurts, so he's not always looking for the deep ball. He makes quicker decisions. I think we have a shot. I really do think we have a shot. I mean, we have to start immediately. We don't have much time, and we have to hope that Dallas has some hiccups along the way. But it's not unreasonable to think that we couldn't. That it's not impossible by any means. Okay, so where was I? 12th round, 101st overall, John Patrick, back from Penn State, played 3 years for Pittsburgh. 13th round, 111th overall, Joe Haig, back from Colgate, played 2 years from Pittsburgh. 14th round, 121st overall, Les Dotson, a back from Mississippi. He played 1 year for Pittsburgh. 15th round, 131st overall, Alex Kukacik, and from Boston College, never played professional football. You know what? I didn't look into this in more depth, Julio. Alex Singleton was one of our top tacklers, but we don't have a good cover linebacker. But one of the things that I thought of, and I don't know the numbers. I don't know if he's too slow or whatever. But I was thinking Derek Barnett has really struggled on defensive end. Maybe he'd be a decent linebacker, right? I haven't looked at his size. If he's a tall guy and he can move around, a medium amount, he could help us in the run game, stuffing a lot of those bigger backs. And maybe just based on his height, he could get in the way of some passing. But I want to look into that in more detail. Maybe we move. Barnett to linebacker. I don't know if it's even an option, but he's not doing what we are paying him for right now at defensive end. So Okay, so where were we? There's a host of what we got. We got four guys. I'm sorry, one, two, three guys now that did not play in the NFL that we drafted. 16th round, 141st. Bill Conister, a back from Texas A&M. 17th round, 151st. John Yakos, tackle from Boston College. Well, that'd be next year, right? Because he's out for the rest of the year. I don't know. Brandon Graham was doing. I think Brandon Graham was doing well as a defensive end. I'd rather keep Brandon Graham on the defensive line and move Barnett to linebacker, because Barnett's not producing. Barnett's really not doing anything at defensive end. 19th round, 171st overall, John Schonk, end from West Virginia. He actually played a year for the Eagles. 20th round, 181st overall, LB Russell, back from Hardin Simmons. And the next three, no information. Never played any football. 21st round, 201st overall, Charlie Henke, guard from Texas A&M. 22nd round, 203rd overall, Mike Fernella, tackle from Akron. It wasn't a very good draft at all for the Eagles. I don't think a handful of their 20-some draft picks played at all for the Eagles. And out of all 204 picks in that draft, there was only one Hall of Famer, a guy by the name of Tony Canadeo, who was a running back from Gonzaga. He was drafted. He was drafted by the Green Bay Packers. He played running back, quarterback, defensive back, punter, and he returned kicks and punts. In 1943, he led Green Bay in rushing and passing. He was the third player ever in NFL history to rush for 1,000 or more yards in a season. He retired as the Packers' all-time rushing leader, and currently he's still their fourth all-time rushing leader. He was inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1974. And this is the thing that was badass about these guys back in the day, right? I know the Eagles sucked with their draft this year, but one of the things that I've noticed as well going through some of their older years was these guys were, not only did a lot of them play both ways, right? Offense and defense, which nobody would even consider doing in the NFL right now. But in addition to that, these guys were hard asses. They would leave and go to wars, shoot the shit out of people, Germans and all that stuff in World War II, come back and kick ass in football. And this guy was Tony Canadeo for the Packers. Oh yeah. He wasn't the all-time Eagles passing leader. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I mean, it's not like we were winning games, right? So this guy, Tony Canadeo, running back for the Packers, third guy ever to run for 1,000 yards, all-time rushing leader, fourth currently, Hall of Fame in 1974. In 1944, he was only able to play 3 games. In fact, he missed Green Bay's NFL championship game win because he was in the Navy kicking ass in World War II. And he missed all of the 1945 season in the Army in World War II. So this fucker was in the Navy for 1 year, fucking sinking boats and shit, whatever the hell they do in the Navy. I'm not a veteran, right? So, and then after that, he jumped over to the Army, kicked ass in World War II, and then he came back and played football both ways. Makes you feel like a pussy, doesn't it? Makes you feel like a big pussy. Anyway, so that was the NFL draft in 1941. Not a real good haul for the Eagles. Okay, Julio, thanks for commenting. I really enjoyed the back and forth. I think we agree on a lot of things. I think the Eagles are a solid team. I think the Eagles have the potential to do something good. I think if they run more often, if Hurts goes back to form like he was last year, I think our offensive line has been doing a much better job this year. I think we have a chance because our defense has been able to do enough, I think, for most games. And consider the fact that our defense has been on the field. If we're 31st in the NFL in time of possession, that means our defense is on the field more than 31 other teams, more than 32. Well, whatever, 30 other teams. So give them a rest, let them be more dynamic, and I think we'll be good. So do me a favor. Follow me and follow Philly Sports Alliance. Bottom, I don't know if that's a bottom left or bottom right for you. But Philly Sports Alliance there. Follow them on everything: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, everything you can think of. Look for Philly Sports Alliance. Follow them, like them, look at all their posts. They're going to cover all the sports in Philadelphia. And then follow the Bald Eagle Podcast. Now, if you go to see some of my old shows on YouTube, you're going to have to type in the Bald Eagle Podcast. I'm not famous enough yet for it to come up, but search me out on everything as well. I'm on everything: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever you want to see me on. That's where I'm at. And Philly Sports Alliance, we don't just have a handful of shows. We got you covered on every sport. I'm sorry, Instagram, you can't see this right now. But Philly Sports Alliance has Philly informed on all four sports. It starts off on Mondays, a football smack talk show, 6 p.m., featuring Ryan Reese and Eric Ward. They talk about football, the whole NFL, not just the Eagles. They probably spend more time on the Eagles because, hey, we're the Philly team, right? Then on Mondays, you got the Diamond Club podcast with John Hunter and Chris Lahiff. Danny Hart's in there as well. That's an all Phillies show. So if you love baseball, if you love the Phillies, listen to them on Mondays at 7:30. Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m., you have the Philly Broadcast featuring Ryan Reese and Ryan Finneran. Philly Broadcast is all four sports, specifically Philly sports, right? So Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, and Phillies, right? 6:30 p.m. on Tuesdays. Of course, 6 p.m. Bald Eagle Podcast, Wednesdays. You're watching that, right? The most in-depth play-by-play analysis out there, right? And I tell you things you'll never hear from any of these bullshit announcers that are just looking at stats to get ready for the games. Wednesdays after my show, 8 p.m. is Mixed Sports. Mixed Sports is an all-football show featuring Eric Ward and Jay Landry. So you hear about the Eagles at 6 o'clock. Then at 8 o'clock, you're going to hear about everybody else with a little bit of tilt on the Eagles. Actually, that's the show with Eric Ward and Jay Landry. Eric Ward is an Eagles fan. Jay Landry is a Cowgirls fan. I'm not sure how they can get together and talk civilly. I'm not sure. Perhaps there's a lot of cursing and all that stuff because there would be if I was talking to a Cowgirls fan. But they talk about the whole NFL, so maybe it's a little bit tamer. Thursdays at 5:30, Tendies on Pattison. That's got Paul Batcho, Jack Griffin, Chris Lahiff. That's an all Flyers show. If you're into hockey, check that one out. Thursdays at 7. Last but not least, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. 7 p.m. on Thursday features Eric Ward and Joe Barry. That's a wrestling show. So if you're interested in the WWE or the WWF, whatever's around, they'll get you caught up on all that stuff. All right. Like I said, follow me. Like everything. Do all that stuff. And as always, go Birds.